we've got.
Dat heb ik zelf ook al hoor.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you. Ton? Hi, Ton. Nice to meet
Hi.
you.
Was Henry, yeah?
Yes. Royal Brinkman. Okay. Jack?
Yes, it's me.
Okay. And you're the grower? You're the grower?
I'm the grower.
Okay. And that's Heide?
Hidden. He's sitting over there.
With the blue.
Okay, Heide.
He's in front.
Great. So you're each going to have an opportunity to introduce yourself, okay?
Yes.
No problem.
2 minutes.
Up to 2 minutes, yeah. Okay. Thank you. Excuse me.
Ik kom uit Den Horen.
This is cut, right?
Goedemorgen. Patrick.
Hoi. Ik
Jack. Jawel, het duurt gewoon mij te lang, maar de partij Filemon. En ik heb Michel opgehaald, zodat jij uit Schravenzand en door het Westland heen bent. Maar goed,
Ja.
we hebben lekker zitten praten. En,
Ja, je moet je vooral niet druk maken.
Nee,
Dat
dat
is
doet ook niet.
zoiets van, nou ja, joh.
Ton? Sorry, I'll get it. These are the questions you wanted, right?
yeah, approximately.
I sent you updated ones? Okay.
Is that updated one? Let me see. No, I've never seen these questions.
Oh,
Oh yeah, yeah. Sorry,
Yeah.
I was reading this one.
oh, okay. Yeah, that's a Jack one. Sorry, it's very,
Yeah.
the formatting is. So Jack, you know yours? Okay, great. Okay. We've got, where's the water?
Stil open.
Ja,
Oh,
bij
dat
jezelf
is mijn...
blijven.
Maar het kan ook nooit, je weet nooit hoe dat loopt, joh, maar dat gaat wel goed.
No, dat vind ik ook.
Maar we hebben wel met z'n allen wel een beetje ervaring. Dus,
Ja. Nou, je moet altijd uitkijken voor die klimaatmannen natuurlijk. Die proberen je natuurlijk een beetje in de val te lokken. Dus dat moet je de ene is de prins nog wat. Die is
Ja.
van de klimaatbeweging, zeg maar.
Geheim.
Geheim. Ah, ja, goed verhaal net hoor. Maar,
dat vond ik ook wel, ja.
ja, goed verhaal.
Maar ik denk dat wij het als Nederlandse glastuinbouw natuurlijk als voorbeeld in de wereld gewoon ontzettend goed doen.
Enorm.
Punt.
Ja, maar je
Punt.
kan ook enorm veel
Did you say there's water? I have water
bij
right on a cup.
water in de
I was wondering if there's a glass.
water om. Ze hebben een enorm waterprobleem. Ze hebben alles weg. Dus met de kennis die je hier hebt, kan je daar heel veel brengen. En
Ja.
zo. Ja, dat is natuurlijk met alles.
Are we starting on time? We're waiting for our guest, our VIP guest, though.
In tomaten zijn we ongeveer even groot als Harvest House. Zeg maar, wij met Growers United. Dus een beetje de twee marktleiders.
Okay.
Ja, voor de rest is er natuurlijk nog 5 oversnippen. Bij ons is het al dik 400 hectare, waar Harvest House ook zoiets. En dan heb je totaal nog een keer zoiets.
Ja.
We zijn groot in oude benzine, hebben we 70% nu dit jaar van de markt. Nou, dat is wel prettig. Dan kan je wel wat betere prijzen uit de markt halen. En tomaten zijn we groot. En eigenlijk komkommer, dat is wel een beetje opkomend, maar dat mag nog wel een beetje bij. En paprika. Eigenlijk wil je voor je klant natuurlijk het complete pakket hebben. Dus dan moet het ook een beetje in evenwicht zijn. Je krijgt steeds directere lijnen met de rieten. Of steeds meer
My name is spelled wrong.
direct contact. Ja, dan
It's
moet
an
je
O instead of an E
alles kunnen leveren.
for Gordon. Hi. I don't have a cup, but
Ja, ja.
Gordon.
Nee, die
And it's
rieten
going to
is
be on
niet
many,
echt-
many
dat is niet
slides.
echt- dat is niet echt,
I'm Henry, the
moet
first
met
guy.
elkaar doen.
So, Gordon instead of N-G-O. There you go.
assistent?
And there's a hyphen between
Ja,
the Gordon
even
and the
kijken.
Smith.
Ja.
Dash. Yeah. Double
En ben heel benieuwd hoe het gaat deze 3 dagen, wat er nou op afkomt.
Okay.
En ik hoor gisteravond ben ik bezig eten met
we're starting
onze
late?
branchmanagers allemaal. En die verwachten toch wel een hoop mensen vanuit het buitenland.
Okay.
Dus ja, dat is wel mooi. Ja, dat denk ik. Dat geloof ik direct. Ja. Ja, we hebben het grootste netwerk wereldwijd. Dat is echt zo.
Panel 2 I'm not moderating, I think. So I get a little bit of a break.
Ja.
That's correct.
Ja, kan me voorstellen, ja.
Goedemorgen.
Jazeker. Ja hoor.
Waar wil je ons hebben? Nou, geweldig. Hè.
Een beetje zoeken naar...
Hi, again. How's it going? Thank you so much. Appreciate that.
Yeah, I'm going to listen to you again.
Okay, great. Well, I just
Ja, die ook even bij
have to make them look good.
Kijk, leuk.
You know, I don't say much.
Gewoon willekeurig?
Yes, I'm sure.
Gaan wij zitten.
I'm sure.
Ja, zijn wij gezellig?
Tuurlijk.
Nou, heerlijk. Loopt nog niet geen storm hier.
Nee, dat loopt geen storm.
Maar ja, mensen komen ook niet van de lezingen. Denk ik.
Dag, een all-man panel.
Ja, dat is wel erg trouwens, hè? Inderdaad,
Ik ga ervan uit.
Nee, ja,
Dat wordt een beetje de
dat is eigenlijk niet... kan eigenlijk niet. Dat is heel erg ouderwets, ja. Ik had nog niet, dat was mij niet opgevallen. Gelukkig net bij de intro wel veel trouwens.
Ja,
Dat is een hele goede vrouw.
Ik voel me weer verwant.
Ik ook, maar ja.
We're ready?
Iets wat vrouwelijke kleuren misschien.
4 keer, puur 4 toch?
They're all on stage, so.
Nee, goed nog.
Ja, dat is in ieder geval...
Mooi.
Okay. Well, just give me a signal when you're ready. I'll be on stage.
Kijk, daar komt hij.
We're ready.
Yeah, now they're not ready. Hi again. I'm Henry. Nice to meet you.
But you said it's an all-male panel, which is a little...
A manel.
Oh, man, I don't know.
Acknowledge that.
Not of this time anymore.
Okay. Hi, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Vision Stage at GreenTech on the opening day. We're so glad you're here. And all throughout today, there's going to be a lot of in-depth conversations, roundtables, panels across the areas of data, collaboration, policy, urban agriculture, AI, you name it. This is the place to keep learning throughout the event. I'm Henry Gordon-Smith. I'm the founder and CEO of Agritecture. If you want to see our booth, we're just right here in the corner of your eye. So you're welcome to come check us out. But I'm honored today to be moderating this opening panel. And as you heard from the opening on the stage, if you were there earlier, you know, we're really talking about controlled environment agriculture, this incredible innovation that the Netherlands certainly is leading across greenhouses and various other controlled systems. But in the face of a climate crisis, can this be a meaningful impact on elements of sustainability? Can this impact the UN climate goals? Can it drive it forward? How not? Can it impact food safety and some of those things that are important to our health and well-being? Those are the questions we're going to explore today on this panel. And it's more of a roundtable, to be honest, guys. So we got to be a little bit more casual and chill if we can handle that. Okay, so first let's begin with some introductions. Of course, we'd like to invite His Excellency Jaime to introduce himself again, if you don't mind, for those that weren't there.
Sure, I'm... can you hear me?
I think move it a little closer. It's a tough one, yeah.
Test. Yeah, there we go.
Do you want a hand?
Test, can you hear me?
Let's get a handheld for...
Test. Yeah, maybe.
Some bad luck with audio today.
Ja, it is.
Yeah.
There is.
There we go. Test. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Perfect.
that's better. Thank you.
It's wonderful to be with you. I'm Jaime de Bourbon-Parma. I'm the climate envoy of the Netherlands. So that means that I lead the climate diplomacy for my country globally. Oh, let's see if it works.
Yeah, so let's go over to Ton next. Over here.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, that's better. I'm Ton van Meel, CEO of Roy Brinkman, knowledge company, a supplier in worldwide in the horticultural business. And next to that, among other things, also board member of the AVAG. That's a branch organization for technical companies. Horticulture is in my veins since I was young. My father was a grower, my brothers were growers. And
What were you growing?
tomatoes and cucumbers and things like that.
Tomatoes and cucumbers.
Yeah, on a small piece of land. And I didn't want to become a grower, but I wanted to see the world in the horticultural business, so I did. I worked for 5, 6 family companies. And for 10 years ago, I started as CEO for Roy Brinkman. And there started my interest for sustainable food and flower production. My passion for this, and also the enormous chance that we have as a Dutch industry
To make a difference.
to make the difference.
Yeah, that is exciting. Huge potential there.
That's what drives me. Yeah.
Okay, well, we'll get more into that. Really grateful for that introduction. And Jack, could you introduce yourself?
Yes, hello. Can you hear me? Yes. I'm Jack van der Wegen. I'm a tomato grower, and I'm also chairman of Growers United. That's a growers association. We have about 650 hectares of different fruits and vegetables, and that's what I do. I'm for 40 years almost in the business. I was a young guy when I started it, and we do different crops, tomatoes and cucumbers at our own. And in the corporation we do also peppers and eggplants.
Okay, lots of abundance there. So you have your own farm, but you also are part of Growers United, is that
Yes.
correct?
Yes.
And your own farm is tomatoes,
Own farm is tomatoes and also cucumbers.
also cucumbers. Okay, excellent. And last but not least, we have Hidde. Am I
Thank
saying
you.
that right?
Yeah, Hidde Boersma. I'm Hidde Boersma. I'm a scientist in background. I have a PhD in soil microbiology. But now I'm a speaker, I'm a writer, I'm a filmmaker. I just had a film released in the cinemas here in the Netherlands called Paved Paradise. And I actually made my career out of just one single sentence.
Oh, really?
Which is, we should do more on little land to save space for nature. And I really feel, and so this is a warm bath with GreenTech. This is where people do a lot on little land. And I really feel that it's time for a new narrative on what sustainable food production actually is that we should do more on little land to save space for nature.
So wait, where did this sentence, when did you say it? Was it in your book or?
Yeah, so but, my Paved Paradise is actually a 90 minutes film which revolves around this idea, and I really worried that a lot of policies the government actually is implementing now is missing out on the most important environmental measure, which is land use. Land use change is the key when it comes to biodiversity decline, and also key to climate change, because it might be surprising, but there's more CO2 in the air through land use change than there is to oil and gas.
Yeah, and that's what we want to talk about today is this huge impact of agriculture and how controlled environment agriculture could make a meaningful difference. So I want to go over to you, Jaime. You're going to the United Arab Emirates, which I spend a lot of time there as well. Because of their climate, controlled environment agriculture is one of their only options. Do you think CEA is going to be very front and center at that event? Are you going to be bringing it to that event?
So when we had climate summits, we have climate summits every year. In Glasgow, I would say that food was not on the agenda. Last year in Sharm el-Sheikh, the next climate summit, we had it on the agenda, and will be front and central now in Abu Dhabi Dubai climate summit coming December. So we'll be there. They're looking for solutions. So they say, don't come with us with problems, come with us with solutions. And I really am seeing now this opportunity to bring GreenTech is to really dive into this technology. And I had to first look up what CEA actually meant.
CEA.
And then controlled environment agriculture and how it relates to precision farming, organic farming, hydroponics. I had to look at it as well. Now I know it's using water-based nutrient solutions rather than soil. For you, it's something that you know for a long time. But I knew about it, but now I actually know what the name is to say it. And indeed, it's all about land use, the efficiency of land use. You can use it in urban areas, and therefore you can avoid deforestation. So from a climate perspective, it's an important element. Water conservation, also advanced irrigation and circulation techniques, using less water is incredibly important, specifically in the Arab world, but globally as well. And greenhouses can also use very few chemicals to, as we've seen, many technologies here are actually reducing the use of tannic chemicals, and in controlled environments you can actually do that. And we also heard of greenhouse and actually produce more energy than they can use, so they can export energy. So I think this environment has so much options that definitely where I can, I'll be promoting this at the next summit.
Yeah, excellent. Well, you're getting informed very quickly. You've got lots to share there at that event, and it's super important in the UAE because of their water scarcity issues. 12 of 15 of the most water scarce countries in the world are in the GCC and the MENA region. So they are the edge of climate change as far as I see it. So producing some food there and exporting Dutch technology there is going to be very important. Yeah. On that, I want to ask you...
Maybe I want to say that when I spoke to Anne van der Riet, so I'm making new friends here, so the whole thing here is to make new friends. She said that we're exporting more tech than tomatoes. I don't know if that's true, but that sounds good, that 80% of our tech is actually being exported. So it's a huge potential for Dutch industries to share that.
Yeah, you really see it everywhere. And so is that what you're most proud of with Dutch horticulture, or is there something else? What do you think Dutch horticulture is doing really well?
No, what we heard in the previous panel as well is the amount of R&D that actually goes into this sector. We also heard that with COVID, instead of caving in, more money went to R&D for energy efficiency, etc., to kind of be problem-solving, forward-leaning. And where the sector was 20 years ago, well, we've been 20 years. There's no question about it that this progress will continue. That makes me very proud.
And Hidde, I want to go back to you.
Yeah.
What makes you proud? What compliment would you give Dutch horticulture?
I think you can already guess it.
Yeah, using less space.
Yeah, exactly this. And I really I make a little joke about it, but I think we really should talk more about land use. Because at the moment, with 8 billion people, we use 50% of the planet already. 50% of the planet is in use for, living and growing food, and especially growing food because our living environment, our built environment is only like 1 to 3%, and the rest is our food. And we're heading to 10 billion, we're getting richer, and we should, if we want to save nature, if we want to save biodiversity, we should make sure that we don't enlarge the share of the planet we're using. 50% is already so much, and then if we go for extensivation measures for organic or for food forest, we are bound to use more. So this is the place, and we should really be proud of what is achieved here. I often feel that a lot of people who work in this sector, they feel a little bummed out by all the policies who don't include things like CEA, or it's often not the case that CEA is put in the same place as sustainability, and I think it actually should.
Yeah, I mean, I think that there's a bit of a debate there, depending on the kind of power that's powering greenhouses or vertical farming, which is much more intensive, a new form of
we all know,
CEA that we're seeing. We're going to see that a lot in the UAE. But the journey towards more sustainability is becoming more visible. I was in Switzerland last week, and there's 100% renewable powered vertical farm there.
Exactly.
And they use completely biodegradable substrate. Their name is Yasai. And this is impressive. They're focusing on circularity. They're recapturing the heat from the vertical farm to power some buildings. So that starts to get very interesting. Yeah. So it's a step-by-step process to move it forward.
There are no solutions in agriculture. It's all trade-offs. So there's always, you have to choose a little bit. But so energy is still a little bit of a problem. But we can solve this, I think.
What about you, Jack? You're the grower here, right?
Yes.
Well, I know you've got growing experience too, but what is it really like on the ground to drive sustainability forward through controlled environment agriculture? But how specifically have you been able to advance maybe using less water, using less nutrients, using less energy in your operations, and also through the Growers Union? Is that something that you're able to do, and do you have any examples of that?
Yes, we are able to do, and we know it's very important because the time is going fast, and in 5 years you have to be much more sustainable than at the moment, because if you don't do it, you can't deliver the market. So, and I think in Holland we are the Champions League of food production, and we have to find out what are the good things, and we can export it in the world. And so we are always busy here to look what the possibilities are more sustainable production.
I'm going to push you though. Any specific examples? I want to know what's something that what has improved over 5 years or 10 years.
Last years, the last 10 years, we see the terminal heat is coming. So that's a part of solving the problem. Now we see we're making other kind of energy. So we look to use waste heat to put on, and we make a total network so we can use it. We have to solve the problem of CO2 because it's very important for plants to have CO2. and we can't grow plants without it. So it's very important. That's also good, and that's not always enough available at the moment. So it's very important.
Or the source is kind of questionable
yes,
as well.
That's
it was the winner of the concept award was Skytree, and they sequester carbon from the environment, and they're trying to put it into greenhouses. That would be very interesting, right, as a solution potentially for this. I wanted to talk a little bit. Maybe it's a bit of a question, but when we think of the Netherlands and its history, so much of the innovation was stimulated by scarcity or challenges. If we look at the World War, the reason why the Dutch are so advanced, as I hear it from the history books, is that you said we're never going to go hungry again, and now you've far exceeded that. You feed the world in addition to feeding yourselves. So do you think, going back to the crisis that's happened with energy and the war in Ukraine, is that also doing things for you and your growers? Is that stimulating new innovation because there's been scarcity and challenges with energy prices? Because I think it's an important discussion to say, as we look to the future, as more shocks happen due to climate change, how can we use those as opportunities to innovate here in the Netherlands and export that?
We have to find solutions for like the energy crisis. It's coming very fast. In 1 year, it's exploding. And then we have to look for solutions, how to deal with it. And when it comes, it's difficult. But when you see you have enough sources, enough opportunities to use with the power plants we have, it's very important, the CHPs. And we see that we can solve the problem the last 2 years, and we have still we can make a profit with the products we make. So
you've been relatively able to adapt, right?
Yes,
to this apocalypse and energy crisis was really bad.
But when you said 4 or 5 years ago that the gas price will go to more than €1, everyone says it's impossible to grow vegetables with that prices. But we find solutions to deal with it.
And some of those adaptations will stay with you, right? Well, they'll continue.
Yes, of course.
Why go back if you
We learned last year that we could grow with about 25% less gas because of the high price. And we say, oh, it's possible to do it with less gas? Yes, it's possible. So we take it with us and we go on with it.
And Ton, what do you think about some of the challenge? Are there any other challenges that the sector's facing, or do you see some on the horizon that you can highlight? I mean, Royal Brinkman is involved in so many different operations and your own experience.
Let's be first say that in my opinion, we have achieved a lot as Dutch industry. We export in 100 countries, so we see a lot of developments going on in the world with sustainability. There are less growers, less suppliers. That's an enormous trend. And they all have sustainability on their agenda. And what I see as an important trend, as speaking about Royal Brinkman, we don't want to talk about selling this or selling that. We want to have a discussion, like with Jack, about how can we help you on a higher level of discussion with your sustainability issues. And that's a completely different approach that we try to do step by step with our customers and also with our industry partners in order to have a higher level of discussion in order to solve the problem of the challenge of sustainability.
So I want to make sure I understand what you're saying. You're saying instead of just selling them something, you're having a strategic discussion with the growers about the broader aspects of sustainability for their operations in the sector.
They have more and more growers have a sustainability agenda.
Yes.
Clear. And we want to help them, and we can support them worldwide with their sustainability agenda.
And what is the greatest sustainability flaw to Dutch horticulture?
How do you mean with flawed? What do you mean with flawed?
Flaw, the weakness, the least sustainable part of the system.
Maybe still energy.
Maybe still energy, and the source of the energy, the amount of energy.
And how we should transfer that to different energy sources.
Yeah.
But I think, for instance, with integrated pest management, we've done a lot in the Dutch industry. We do it worldwide.
Yeah.
And we also
pesticide reduction has been significant.
And
water use.
Yes, water use also.
It's huge.
It's an example. It's an example.
And what about substrates? Right, the materials you use to grow the plants and a lot of the greenhouses. I see a lot of them still are not biodegradable. Do you think that's an area where we're going to see more innovation?
Somehow we have to do innovation in that field as well. But the total subject of waste management.
Yeah.
That's an enormous subject, how we can support our customers in order to use less waste or to reuse things, or those subjects are also on the table in discussing with our customers.
Yeah, interesting to see how that one will evolve. Jaime, what's your take of the Dutch horticulture industry, and what needs more attention? What needs to be improved a bit more?
Well, as a climate envoy, it's always energy, but also not just from a climate perspective, also for security of supply of energy. Now we see with geopolitics, with a war that we did not expect on our borders, how the energy price spikes. And then, if we would have a shortage, for now we don't have it, but it's if we would in time of shortage, the government will have to decide. First, the households will need to keep energy. So what industries do you need to shut off? You probably think of steel, you probably think of cement production, you probably think of the high intensity energy, but you might also think of horticulture. So the more the industry and the households are independent of the grid, or have an additional source of energy, the more security of supply you'll have in the longer term. So I think it's both on the price side, climate, and security of supply. It's good to have diverse sources of energy.
Yeah, diversify the sources, improve the infrastructure across the sectors.
We heard some great examples on how you're developing these
Yeah, we're going to get into a whole geothermal discussion later today, which is really interesting to see how that can contribute to the energy mix.
Somehow the Netherlands is also leading on that front, because there's an American-European collaboration on geothermal, and apparently a lot of the expertise comes from the Netherlands.
Yep. So to achieve these advancements, right, to make these improvements that you're saying are necessary, in particular energy, but some other areas, what are some things that the government should do?
Well, what I hear around me, and I'm focusing on internal, but what we do need to do in the Netherlands is provide a level playing field, so that everybody feels also internationally that the investments made here are not threatened abroad. That we don't lose also the right investment culture in the Netherlands, that it becomes cheaper now with all the finance that has been available in the US, with the Inflation Reduction Act, that all this knowledge will actually move elsewhere. I'm not totally afraid for that, because I think there can also be multiple bases of companies, and you do need to look at the place where you can actually produce best. But we need to make sure that the investment climate in the Netherlands remains attractive.
Yeah, and I think leveling the playing field is very, very important, not just in the investment area, like encouraging more investment so that similar to US companies, new companies can grow and innovate, but also like subsidies, which I think is the big discussion in agriculture. Yeah. I think a lot of our problems are because we're subsidizing the wrong things. And we need to sort of look to the future, what kinds of farming systems we need in the future, not what we had in the past.
So front runners need to be supported.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. What about for you, Jack? I mean, what are some things that you'd like to see from the government to support more sustainability in controlled environment agriculture and Dutch horticulture?
It's important to know how it's developing. We know we get more taxes on the energy, and that's we understand it. It's normal, but it's very important to know how it looks like for the next 10 years, because we're making plans now for the future. And if you don't know how it will be in 5 or 8 years, then it's difficult to make plans. So to go on with what we are doing, it's important to know how it looks like.
You want to have confidence that support is there, know what the rules are going to be, know what the incentives are going to be, so you can invest and plan.
Yes, it's very important.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. Yes, hit it.
Yeah, I think also, like, for instance, like the European Union should also step up, because I have the feeling like Europe used to be like the continent of progress. But if you see like all new technologies like AI or like alternative proteins, if you look at the most innovative companies, they're not in Europe anymore, because the government doesn't.
Do you think that's a policy issue or an investment culture issue?
Both, I think. And
because if you're an AI startup in the US, your ability to raise money is so much easier than a Dutch company.
I think this is also like a little bit of the culture of Europe. Like Europe has lost a little bit of its like power or like belief in progress. And I really think like it's not only here the GreenTech, but it's also like if you think about seed. For instance, we used to be really big, but we're losing out because we're like.
I find this really interesting though, because you can always say the Dutch needs to have more innovation, more Silicon Valley attitude.
Yeah.
Maybe policy needs to encourage that more. But there's a downside to that. I mean, Theranos came out of the US, right? Like, you see these companies that raise ridiculous amounts of money, make zero impact, and then implode and destroy a sector. So, the cautious innovation that the Dutch exhibit, I kind of like.
I don't know.
We need to push it a little bit further, but not too far.
Okay, I'm not sure if I agree. But
I think that the grass is always green on the other side. I agree with you that when I went to Silicon Valley also to look at clean tech and good tech, They want to grow first and then they'll fix social and environmental issues later. And that often is a very bad model. And what we do is collaborate first and see what all the effects will be and try to fix it in advance. It takes more time, is less attractive. You can't attract immediately billions and then burn them again. And some of them will succeed, like in the US. I mean, it's an amazing environment to work in. But I think this has an added value in the chain.
Yeah, I think that balance is very important. But a little bit more startup, investment, entrepreneurship culture could happen. What do you think, Tom?
I'm thinking of the word recognition.
Recognition?
Yes.
You mean recognizing what's been done, or recognizing
what the value is of the Dutch horticulture industry for the world? And I would like to have more support from the Dutch government in that field.
Recognizing
it can be positive, critical, but not only critical that we use all kind of bad things, etc., etc. But try to get another mindset and support our famous and very good industry. I would really like that.
Why exactly do you want that? Is it to get more local individuals, young people involved? Is it to be able to have more value in what you export? What's the reason?
It's the reason of people, of course, that want to work in this industry. But also, I see so many news about something happening in the Dutch horticultural industry, and then it's a negative thing.
Oh,
it's amazing. Try to be positive about what we do and support it. And of course, we are working on labor issues, we are working on energy issues, but don't be so critical, support this industry.
And the Growers United Union, do you have like a press lobbying team that goes to government and goes to journalists and says this is why we're amazing, or even AFAG? Do you guys do that? Because that's how you change the narrative.
Yeah, we do it together in FAO, so that's the Federation of the Growers. And we try to tell a story, and HIDDE helps us with the story. So I think we look for each other. It's very important to tell the story. So
and what we do is, together with Jacker's organization, as AFAG organization, we try to come together as technical companies, discuss with the growers, discuss with HIDDE to have the subjects on sustainability and how can we move forward the coming few years.
Right.
That's a great opportunity.
Yes.
So during the climate summit in Dubai, so we have a couple of months. There'll be food pavilions. We're supporting the Netherlands as supporting one of the food pavilions. I don't know how the program looks like, who's going to determine it, but we can figure it out to see if we can showcase some of these solutions. The other thing is that the Emirates are very good in promoting the private sector, and we always immediately look at the energy sector, the oil and gas sector, and all the commotions around it. But they'll also be looking at food, water, and all the other sectors that are going to be present. And what they want to do is give the private sector more of a voice during this climate summit.
That would be nice.
And attract financiers to climate solutions. So that could potentially, but we have to see how it will look like, a marketplace for finance and tech solutions, and maybe we can work on that together.
Well, those are some great final words from Jaime to set up a vision for what's necessary, as well as looking forward to that COP event in the UAE. But I really want to thank our growers, our innovators, our writers and promoters on this panel today. Thank you so much. Let's have a round of applause for our panelists. And stick around. We have another session at 11 a.m. coming up soon.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.